higher education in India, major issues and challenges. Friends, India is one of the top countries in the world which has been transforming after India's independence, not only in the field of higher education, but also in various fields of activities. The major issues that we have to discuss pertaining to higher education are the following. Number one, there is a paradigm shift in the domain of higher education in India in the 21st century. Under this heading, many changes are taking place and have taken place, from national to global education. Today we are speaking of borderless education. Students can take one semester in India and the second semester in a foreign country and third semester in another country. That facility is being provided and also it is being followed. Now, particularly 2020 NEP of India has opened the doors of Indian universities for foreign universities to establish their campuses. And that indicates how education in India at the higher level is being internationalized or globalized. Number two, from general education to skill-oriented education to meet the demands of market forces. Skill orientation is very important. Whatever may be the discipline, skill content must be incorporated in the curriculum or in the curricula. Number three, from education for a few to education for all. Today we have to provide inclusive education for all. Higher education benefits cannot be confined only to elite classes or to the urban students or to the rich students. It should be available to everybody. Affordability of the benefits of higher education must reach everybody. Now, how to achieve this goal is a big issue as well as a big challenge in India. Then, from teacher-centered education to learner-centered education system. Today, teachers are being considered only as facilitators. They are the advisors. They are the facilitators. The real stakeholders are the learners, the students. So from that point of view today, the stakeholders who are the students are being considered as very important elements in the domain of higher education. From one-time education to lifelong education is another change. Learning is a lifelong process. Designation are there only for certain purposes, for the purpose of pay and promotion. But even a teacher is a learner. He is always a student. And therefore, lifelong education is a very important factor to remember. From traditional teaching method to technology-driven method is very important. So these are the changes that we have been witnessing under the heading called paradigm shift in the domain of higher education. Second important major issue is the expansion of higher education in India. There in 1947. And how many universities are there today after the implementation of the Constitution 75 years ago? Today, according to the 2022 statistics, we have 54 central universities. In 1947, there were only 20 universities and 500 colleges across the country with a gross enrollment ratio of 0.1%. Of course, at that time, the population of the country was about 35 to 40 crores. But today we have more than 140 crores population, occupying the first place, in the field of demography. But today, there are 54 central universities. There are 456 state universities. There are 126 deemed universities. And there are 419 private universities. Totally, it comes to 1,055 universities. But according to many scholars, the number of these universities are not sufficient. Therefore, Sam Pitroda committee, which was appointed by the UPA government in 2005, submitted the report and recommended the establishment of 1,500 universities by 2015. But of course, this number we have not reached yet. But nevertheless, number of universities in most of the states and also at the central level are increasing year by year. It also recommended the establishment of 30 new central universities, 50 national universities. But all these important recommendations, are yet to be implemented by the central government, even though the strength of the central universities and the state universities has increased over the years. Regarding the enrollment, a survey was done in 20. The total enrollment in the higher education has been estimated to be 38.5 million. This was the position 4 years ago. Out of 38 million students in the domain of higher education, 19.6 million were boys and 18.9 million were girls, almost equal percent. That shows the gender imbalance is being rectified by enrolling more and more women students in the universities. This is because of 5 criteria that is being followed by the central government as well as by the state governments. These 5 criteria are accessibility. That is, higher education should be accessible to everybody. Number 2, affordability. Number 3, equity. Number 4, quality. Number 5, accountability. These 5 principles or criteria are being followed in the enrollment of students in the field of higher education across the country. The NEP of 2020 wants to enhance this enrollment ratio to more than 40%. The third important major issue is excellence in the field of higher education. A question has been asked: to what extent Indian universities have been performing as quality institutions or as an institution, both in teaching and research? Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate in economics, made a point about 2 decades ago, which is quite relevant even today, in respect of some institutions, that university education in India is in a state of crisis. It is a deterioration in quality, he said. What he made this statement about 20 years ago is relevant even today, pertaining to many universities and colleges. There is a decline both in quality teaching and quality research. The institutions and the teachers have to do some introspection, how to tone up these institutions in order to provide quality research and quality teaching. UGC conducted a study at the same period by selecting about 1,470 colleges and 111 universities across the country. According to its survey, 73% of the colleges and 68% of the universities were transacting teaching learning process which were of low quality. Look at this. That is more than 50% of the institutions were not competing to achieve the level of excellence. This was the finding, real finding made by the UGC about 2 decades ago. Now, from that point of view, how to achieve this excellence is a big problem. And the Kothari Committee in 1966 underlined 6 aspects for quality education or to achieve excellence. What are these recommendations? Quality teaching and research is very important. That is why the NEP of 2020 emphasizes quality teachers, quality scholars, excellent teachers, teachers of outstanding performance, motivated teachers, it says. Then secondly, there must be a curriculum design with its upgradation. Curriculum should be designed at least once in 3 years. Updated curriculum, upgradation curriculum is very, very important. Changes are permanent. Whatever we teach today may become outdated tomorrow. Whatever we teach in India today, it may not be acceptable to foreign countries. Therefore, in the age of globalization, in the age of competition, we have to revise our syllabus frequently. And for that, feedback must be obtained, not only from the stakeholders, but also from the society and from relevant persons. Then sufficient financial support is very important. We want better infrastructure. We want technological resources. We want to establish virtual classrooms. We want to establish smart classrooms. Institutions are expected to adopt latest technology for teaching and research. And that requires financial support and financial resources. And how to mobilize the resources is a big problem. Government alone is not responsible. We have public-private partnership. There are so many means of getting the funds, mobilizing the resources. And you know that whenever the NAC peer team comes to your college or to your universities, they will advise you how to mobilize the resources through philanthropy, through alumni association, through donors. There are people who volunteer themselves to help the institutions for the development. Friends, you all know that in the United States and other Western countries, private universities are developed by alumni associations, by alumni, by philanthropists. It may be Harvard University, Yale University, or any other university. But in India also, we have to think on these lines, in addition to the support given by the government of India or by the state governments. Today, we are spending only about 3% of GDP on higher education. That is not sufficient. The government wants to enhance it to 6%, but it is yet to take a decision on this aspect. Then continuous assessment of students is very important. How to assess them? Therefore, we have adopted choice-based system, credit-based system, semester system. Many changes are taking place. Learning cannot be the sole criterion for examination. Or in other words, examination alone is not the means to assess the students. Continuous assessment means students must be given certain educational tasks. They must be asked to review the books, original books, prescribed books, peered journals. They must present the papers in the seminars. Colloquium may be allowed to conduct by the students. Many means are there. And therefore, teaching methods have to be changed. Pedagogy has been changing and it will be changing. Pedagogy means it's an art of teaching as well as a science of teaching. Therefore, the teachers must motivate the students in the classroom, not only to observe whatever the teachers are teaching, but also to observe other things outside the class through various other channels. And that is why the system has to be developed by the institution for continuous assessment of students. Then second, another one, it also recommended accountability of teachers. That is very important. Teachers are very, very important. They are accountable not only for completing the syllabus, not only for the reputation of the institution, not only for the good results of the institutions, but also for the development of the institution. They must show their leadership qualities, their initiatives, their responsibilities are very, very important. And finally, it also recommended infrastructure facilities, which are very, very important. Apart from this recommendation made by the Kothari Committee for Excellence, Sam Pitroda in 2007, when he submitted the report, recommended the following for excellent education. Accreditation and ratings are very important. Institutions are to be accredited and they have to be rated. And for this, we have the NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. I have visited several colleges and universities across India as a member of the NAC peer team, sometimes member coordinator, and in some cases as the chairman during the last 20 years, not only in South India, but also in North India. But in many states, colleges are in the deplorable conditions. Infrastructure-wise, recruitment of teachers, enrollment of students, financial support, many of them are not in good conditions. And therefore, the accreditation, that is certification of an institution, is very, very important. Then enhancement of teachers' competition and motivation is another recommendation. Teachers are to be encouraged. Their autonomy must be promoted. Promotional opportunities must be given to them to improve their teaching and research ability. Then he recommended the restructuring of affiliated colleges. So we don't want affiliation system. It is the British legacy. In Britain, they have given up. But in India, still we are continuing. UGC and many committees have recommended and still recommending the autonomous status to the colleges which are well established, which have got all facilities. Friends, you all know, Tamil Nadu is a leading state in terms of autonomous colleges. It was the first state to go for autonomous colleges. And today there are large number of autonomous colleges in Tamil Nadu. In Karnataka also recently, we have some colleges which are working as autonomous colleges. In Mysore city itself, there is one law college is there. There are some private colleges. And there is also Constituent College called Yuvarajas College, which is affiliated to, which is Constituent College of the Mysore University, have got autonomous status and they are doing very well. You get lot of educational autonomy and also autonomy to get funds from funding agencies, both in India and abroad. And therefore, nothing to worry about your salary or security of job when the autonomy is conferred. There is a misconception about that. But teachers are free to have their own syllabus. They will be enjoying certain amount of academic freedom from the parent universities. It also advocated, what we call the National Mission on Education through ICT, Information, Communication, and Technology. It recommended that. Therefore, friends, the excellence of the college is so important in order to compete with other institutions, not only within the country, but also outside the country, in the age of globalization. Now, the NEP of 2020 has also identified certain major problems and issues of higher education. I hope that many of you might have perused the document of this NEP adopted by the Government of India in July 2020 and popularly called as 2020 NEP, National Education Policy. It is the third one. The first National Education Policy was adopted in 1968, second one in 1986, and the third one 2020. The government has given the time, to implement this from the decade of 2030 to 2040. So that, there is a slow process in many states and also by the central government to implement its policies and also to constitute the bodies which have been recommended in this NEP of 2020. Now, what are the 10 major issues or problems identified by the NEP? Number one, fragmented higher education system. Fragmented higher education system. Education today is in the concurrent list. Friends, we all know we have a federal system. Federal system means there are two levels of governments. One for the entire country, it is called as the union government or the central government popularly. And there are also state governments. State governments, have got the power to make the laws on the subjects included in the state list. Union government has got the power to enact the law on the subjects included in the union list. There is another list called concurrent list. It is a third list. There are certain subjects like education. Earlier, education was in the state list. In 1976, the Congress government led by Indira Gandhi made the 42nd Amendment and made several changes. Among those changes, education was shifted from state list to concurrent list. So, in the concurrent list, whatever the subjects are there, both the central government, state governments make the laws. If there's a conflict between the two, the central law will prevail over the state law. This is the nature of Indian federalism. So now the education is in the concurrent list. Now there is a conflict between the central government, some state governments regarding the implementation of the NEP of 2020. We do not know when this conflict will end. But when the central government makes a law, that here we have application throughout the country. That shows that in India, federal government has more powers vis-a-vis the state governments. In other words, state autonomy is limited under the Indian federal system of government. Therefore, there is a fragmented education system. It is not completely integrated. We have got, certain state universities, private universities. We have got some universities where there is no intensive research activity. There are some universities where there is no intensive teaching activities. All these problems are there. The functional nature of the universities vary from state to state, from center to center. Central universities, they are very affluent. They are rich because central government funds them like anything. Whereas the state universities are starved of funds. Once upon a time, Mysore University was very rich, but today it is facing the financial problem because of the creation of new universities and the decreasing number of students and financial resources, are being depending upon the state government. So problems are there, challenges are there. The second one is less emphasis on development of cognitive skills at the present education system. Cognitive skill means knowing, including perception, memory, and judgment. Because I told you earlier, skill-oriented education is needed. Whatever the discipline you teach, whether they may be science subjects, or STEM subjects, or social sciences, or humanities, or languages. Even a student of political science or sociology must have a knowledge of computer application. No one can escape. Computer knowledge is a must. You have to apply. Everybody should adopt, ICT in pedagogy, and also in research activities. Therefore, today, NEP is emphasizing cognitive skills. This was not there earlier, under the earlier system. Third one, rigid separation of subjects. Yes, if you come to Manasa Gangotri in Mysore University, there is a Department of Political Science, Department of Sociology, Department of... No. The NEP wants multidisciplinary approach. Multidisciplinary approach. I request you, friends, whenever you go to Delhi, visit the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Now there are different schools. Within the different schools, you find different centers. That is why Jawaharlal University, even today, is being considered as one of the topmost universities in the country. Whatever may be the politics inside, there's a different thing. But quality-wise, integration-wise, it has adopted innovative approach. It has been changing. So from that point of view, the NEP of 2020 is underlying the significance and relevance of multidisciplinary approach. A student can study one semester political science, in another semester economics, in another semester sociology. In the fourth semester, he may go for biology or botany or any other subject. Choice is there. No question of confining only to one discipline. Unique disciplinary approach is not relevant in the 21st century because of globalization, because of skill-oriented education. Fourthly, it said limited access in socio-economically disadvantaged areas. In other words, today many colleges and universities are located in the developed areas, mostly in the urban areas. Rural areas are ignored. They have been neglected. That should not be there. It should be, the gap should be filled up. That is why it has recommended at least in every district, there must be one university. Keeping that in mind, Karnataka government today has nearly 34 public universities, apart from several private universities. Chamarajanagar has got a separate university. Hassan has a separate university. Mandya, which is only about 40 kilometers from Mysore, has got a separate university. So different universities have been established in order to provide easy accessibility to the students. Because students who are residing in the far-flung areas, in the backward areas, may not be able to come to Mysore, or they may not be able to go to Bangalore or to any other place. This is another important one. And that is why the regional imbalance must be rectified. And this is one of the problems. The divide between the urban area and the rural area is another major issue. And the fifth one, limited teachers and limited institutional autonomy. Yes, recently, yesterday, there was a news item in the University of Mysore, 60% of the teaching posts are vacant. 60%. You can imagine. In my own department, in political science, there is only one teacher, permanent teacher. Others are guest faculty members. And some research scholars, are asking to take the classes. What kind of quality teaching you expect from the guest lecturers and from the research scholars? They themselves, they are undergoing the process of education, continuing education. So this is very big challenge. When we were the students during 1970s, early 60s in Mysore University campus, there were stalwarts. There were great professors who were educated from foreign countries, from Cantab, that is from Cambridge University, Oxford University, from Chicago University, and from various other universities in different parts of the world. There were stalwarts. But today, there are youngsters, they have got facilities, but they have not been able to get an opportunity to be recruited as permanent teachers. Therefore, for the last nearly 2 decades, recruitment of teachers has almost been stopped in the country, with some exceptions. I do not know what is the reason. Nobody has come out with a clear reason. In Karnataka, yesterday, Education Minister said, we are taking the measures to appoint some teachers, not only University of Mysore, but also even to that music university, which was established more than 10 years ago. It has no campus. It is being run in the middle school building in Lakshmipuram in Mysore. It looks like a primary school, but it is called as university. Now, these are the problems, constraints that we are facing. And institutional autonomy. We don't want autonomy. I don't know why teachers are afraid of autonomy. Autonomy is very important. Academic autonomy. When you get autonomy, academic autonomy, you will have the opportunity to frame your syllabus, to mobilize your resources, to free from day-to-day control from the parent university, and you go to Tamil Nadu. Please, whenever you visit Madras or Coimbatore or any other place, you visit some private college, autonomous college, interact with them, make a notes, and come back, and you prepare a paper. Thereby, you have to educate. Therefore, I am one who is always, in favor of autonomous institutions, because I have visited several colleges in Tamil Nadu, and they are doing very well. They mobilize the resources through from funding, foreign funding agencies. They will contact BBC. They will contact Ford Foundation. They will contact a Fulbright Fellowship. Do you know Fulbright Fellowship? I was a Fulbright scholar. What do you mean by Fulbright? Fulbright Fellowship, note down, is a federal government fellowship of America. It is called Fulbright Fellowship because one senator from Arkansas state in America, before our independence, during 1945-46, suggested the federal government of America to institute a fellowship for educational exchange program between India and America. And this recommendation was accepted by the federal government of America, and this was instituted, and that is why in this name it is called Fulbright Fellowship. A Fulbright Fellowship is also known as a Fulbrighter. You can get the fellowship either for 3 months, for 6 months, or for 1 year, either for pre-doctoral work, or for post-doctoral work, or for teaching assignment. You have to contact United States Educational Foundation in India, located in New Delhi. There is a regional office for South India in Chennai. So you have to go to their website, see their website. They will call for application. Submit the proposal, either for a pre-doctoral fellow or for post-doctoral fellow. If you have got already PhD, you can go for post-doctoral fellow. Interview will be conducted. Depending upon your performance and project report, you will be selected. Entire expenditure will be met by the American government. That is why it is called as Fulbright Fellowship. Ford Foundation, America. Money is available, friends, but you know how to get it. Even funding agencies are within the country. You can contact Department of Science and Technology, Department of Human Resources Development at the state level, Department of Education. So many funding agencies. UGC is also encouraging you, not only for major research projects, but also for minor research projects. Therefore, autonomy is very important. A teacher must also maintain his autonomy, academic autonomy. Then inadequate mechanism for merit-based career management and faculty development is another one. Because sometimes when teachers are stagnated, when they don't get promotion, when they don't get initiatives or support, then naturally they will not do the work. Because inspiration comes from the institutions. Motivation must be developed by the institution. Then lesser emphasis on research in many universities. This is the point. In India, there is a view that the college teachers are meant only for teaching. Research activities are meant to PG department. No. Higher education means from graduate education to PG education. You are all in the domain of higher education. You may be teaching in the colleges. You should not call it as undergraduate. It is a graduate education. In America, they call it as graduate education. So at the graduate level also, you can adopt research culture, research attitude. That requires interest. There are so many areas which are suitable for research work. Their findings, their outcomes will go a long way, not only to make the new policies, but also to change the old policies by the government. Society can be changed. New methods can be adopted. That is the value of the research. Therefore, friends, today, such thing is not there, and that has to be rectified according to the NEP. Then, the governance and the leadership activities in the Institute of Higher Education are not up to the mark. Leaderships, there is a saying, 4 Ds are there. dynamic principal or vice chancellor, dedicated management, devoted teachers, disciplined students. If this D4 formula is adopted, whether it is a college or a university, will become an outstanding institution. I hope you catch the point. Dynamic principal. If you become a principal, you are like a mini vice chancellor or a vice chancellor who is very dynamic. We don't want a vice chancellor who don't know anything about education, who don't know anything how to improve the infrastructure or educational purposes. Some people will come, sit, sign the file and go away. That is not the way. It is not the chair that is important. It is the man who sits on the chair who is important. It is you, the teacher. When you enter into the classroom, the student should be in a position to understand what you teach, how you are interacting, how you are using your body language, how you are using your communication skill. That is very important. That is why a good teacher always inspires the students. No question of dictating the old notes. Even the notes of history must be updated. Whatever we taught yesterday may be an outdated one today or tomorrow. It has to be updated. It has to be revised. You have to go with new ideas. So, friends, now the leadership qualities, the individual level is very weak. And that has to be filled up by you also. You are not confined only to your teaching. Also, to develop the leadership, qualities. Then, ineffective regulatory system. Regulatory system is not up to the mark. We have got in Karnataka Department of Collegiate Education. At the central level, you have got Ministry of Education. Earlier, it was called as Human Resource Development Ministry. When Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, he changed the nomenclature. But now again, under the NEP of 2020, it has been called as Ministry of Education. We have got Dr. Pradhan as the education, but he is not very active. I don't think he is capable of understanding the intricacies and challenges of education. Because some of the ministers in the Modi cabinet are not up to the mark. Because Modi is a very hardworking man, very disciplinarian. He is a man who has got a vision to transform India into a developed country by 2047. No doubt he is doing that good work. He is a very disciplinarian. He is a very man of integrity. There is no doubt. But all other ministers, most of them are not up to the mark. And that is why, even at the level of implementation of this NEP by the central government and also by several state government, there is a very slow process. He has not been able to convince the state governments which are critical of NEP of 2020. He should convene the meeting of all the ministers or the chief ministers, talk to them, convince them, because we want a cooperative federalism. We don't want confrontational federalism. Politics is not important. Development of the country is very important. NEP document is very relevant. It is very, very, very important. It is adaptable, it is flexible, it is reliable, it is implementable. For that, the center has to take initiative, and we do not know why, the central government is not very keen in adopting a very effective regulatory system. And then lastly, it said, large number of affiliating universities. We don't want affiliation. We want autonomous universities. That is why it has suggested certain key changes in order to overcome these challenges and also these problems. What are these changes? Establishing multidisciplinary universities and colleges in every district. Look at that, in every district, that offer medium of instruction in local or Indian languages. This is very important. India is a polyglot society. India is a multilingual society. Friends, 22 languages are listed in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. But there are more than 22 languages. There are hundreds of languages. Many of them have no script. They are only spoken languages. In this multilingual country, the NEP of 2020 has recommended even in the particular state, local language, a regional language may be adapted, and in every city there may be one university with multidisciplinary courses. Then it also said, for the UG education, multidisciplinary approach is very, very important. That is why regarding exit and also admission, there is a greater flexibility. The NEP has given greater flexibility. The student can join at any time. The student can go out at any time. And after some time, again, he can come back. This provision is being provided. It also recommends encouraging faculty and institutional autonomy. Faculty is very important. I will come to that point in the next session. How it has advocated, motivated, energized, capable teachers. That is very important. Motivated. Teaching is not a joke. Teaching is a challenging job. A teacher is always a student. A teacher is always a learner. Remember Dr. Rajashekara, who taught philosophy in the University of Mysore more than 100 years ago, from 1918 to 1920 in the Maharajas College. Whenever you come to Mysore, visit Maharajas College and remember Dr. Radhakrishnan. Radhakrishnan later on became the President of India. That's a different thing. He was a multifaceted personality. He was a professor of philosophy with specialization on Indian religion. He was respected worldwide. He changed a lot. Nehru respected him and supported him to become the second President of Indian Republic. Fourth one, it is also emphasizing, recommending revamping curriculum. Revamp your curriculum. Change is permanent. You cannot stagnate. There are some teachers who oppose changes, who oppose the revision of the syllabus, who opposes new books, new titles. No, you have to read new books. Books are very important. Now, for a teacher, books are the friends. Library is the temple for the teachers and for the learners. Francis Bacon, some of you may be teaching English. He said in the 17th century, reading makes a full man, conference a ready man, writing an exact man. Please note down this. Reading makes a full man. Don't see the mobile phone always. Mobile phone only is a facilitator for communication purpose. You should not see anything there. It is only an instrument. It is the book which is very important. Reading makes a full man, conference a ready man, writing an exact man. Today we are forgetting the habit of writing. NEP of 2020 is emphasizing the significance of writing, the significance of reading for all. Pedagogy, that is very important. We will discuss this in the next session. Assessment and student support. How you support the student as an advisor. Fifthly, it says strengthening the integrity of faculty and leadership through merit appointments and career progress. Merit appointments. That is very, very important. NET is being conducted by the UGC. SLET is conducted by state government. But sometimes, they are bogus. Whenever we conduct the interview for the recruitment of today, friends, we are all happy that our teachers are getting very attractive salaries. Not attractive, fabulous salaries. You must be grateful to Dr. Manmohan Singh. When he was the Prime Minister and when he was the chairman of the UGC for some time, he took the initiative to enhance the salaries of the teacher. Today in the universities, a senior professor is getting nearly 3 lakhs per month. 3 lakhs, 252. We are not jealous. In fact, I am getting more pension than what I was getting as a salary. We are very happy. You must be very grateful. We never dreamt. When we joined the University of Mysore in 1973, our salary was less than 1,000 rupees. Today, 1,000 rupees is nothing. It is nothing. Today, we are getting, even a temporary lecturer is getting more than 50,000 rupees. Therefore, today we are getting very fabulous salary, very fabulous, financial benefits, and that requires, the faculty and the integrity must be developed, and the progressive teacher, must be encouraged, not only for quality teaching, but also for research, and he must be sent abroad frequently. You must attend the seminars. You must organize the seminar in your colleges. For example, this orientation program, even though it may be an online, but it is opening a door for you to interact with your fellow teacher from other institutions and also to interact with the resource persons who are coming here for about 30 days or for about 28 days. And you will come to know where you stand. What is your communication ability? What is the understanding of your subject? How we can upgrade your knowledge? How we can improve? That's why a teacher should have an open mind. He may be a professor. He may have a PhD. He may have so many publications. But nevertheless, there is something to learn from others. That requires openness. No question of closed mind. Don't think that you know everything or I know everything. Knowledge is infinite. It is like an ocean. And it also recommends the research culture through what we call National Research Foundation. It has already been created. National research culture must be developed. That is why I request every one of you to prepare the research projects. It may be a minor project or it may be a major project. Submit to the UGC, submit to the relevant funding agencies. Try to get the money. Invite experts from to your colleges. Organize a seminar. Organize a workshop on research projects from the universities or from the college development councils. How to prepare the research project, how to submit the project. See, for minor projects, you get lakhs. For major projects, you get more than 50 lakhs and even crores. That is why some science teachers, they prepare, they get the money from several funding agencies. You should know how to get it. And thereby you can improve infrastructure. You can improve your academic strength or academic merit. And thereby you will get recognition. Not only in the institution, but also outside the institutions. Then the governance of higher education institution by the qualified independent boards is very important. That means higher education institution must be governed by board of directors. They should not be controlled by the government. That is what it recommends. And lastly, it says increased access, equity, inclusion are very important. And not only that, in addition to that, you must also encourage online education, offline education, open distance learning. That is open education system. These are also must be encouraged according to it. Therefore, friends, the NEP of 2020 has identified these problems and it has also recommended certain remedies. And these remedies, will be fulfilled when the NEP of 2020 will be implemented by both the central government and state government. Then there is also another important challenge in the domain of our education, that is containing political interference. How the institutions are spoiled by the political interference. Now, recently, UGC has issued a notice, a regulation, that in the appointment of vice chancellors, the role of the chancellors are very important. The roles of the chancellor are very important. But certain state governments have already opposed it, including the Karnataka government, Tamil Nadu government, West Bengal government, and all that. Because appointment of eminent persons as vice chancellors is very important. We have seen earlier, in the Madras University, Professor Lakshmana Swami Madaliyar was the vice chancellor for 25 years. Radhakrishnan was the vice chancellor of Banaras Hindu University. And also, Visakhapatnam University. And thereby, they attained the name and fame. Even in the University of Mysore, Professor K.M. Panikar, who was our ambassador to China, who was a great historian from Kerala, was appointed as vice chancellor, I believe, during early 1960s. But he was here only for 6 months, and when he was discharging his duties, I believe he died. But later, K.L. Srimali, who was the education minister in the Nehru cabinet, who had resigned in 1963 under the Kamaraj plan, was invited by the government of Karnataka, led by Nijalingappa, and appointed him as the vice chancellor of Mysore University. You know that he brought a lot of money from the center to develop the infrastructure in the University of Mysore. The open air theatre, opposite to our academic staff college, village hostel, where the new building has been constructed on the other side. They were all built during his time. Because Morarji Desai was the finance minister. And both of them knew each other. They were the colleagues. He brought money. Such and DC Pavate in Karnataka University, Dharwad. No, the appointment of such great stalwarts would go a long way in the development of the universities. Therefore, if you appoint a mediocre on the basis of political interference, on the basis of some other things, then naturally the quality of the university will decline and will go to the dogs. This is another problem. And therefore, regarding the appointment of Vice Chancellor, we have to be very, very cautious. Government, must take note of, this important thing. The UGC has suggested even the great people from outside universities, like the area of public policy or public administration or well-known industries, can be appointed as Vice Chancellor. But this suggestion is being criticized by the certain politicians, and we have to wait and see. Then recruitment of teacher. Again, this is a big problem. A lot of influence will be there, and a lot of pressure will be there on the Vice Chancellors. And we do not know how transparency will be ensured. Then nomination to university bodies. Do you know that in Karnataka, many universities have the political nominees as the members of academic council, as the members of the executive council, which is also known as the syndicate. Why political appointees are there? What do they have regarding the issues of higher education? They put pressure on the Vice Chancellor, on the university administration for various purposes. And in the process, the academic atmosphere would be vitiated. Now, these are to be questioned and these are to be rectified. No politician should be appointed as the member of the academic council or as the member of the university syndicate or executive council. Renowned experts, renowned professors must be appointed. And I think regarding this also, there must be a lot of thinking and a lot of issues are there. Then there is another problem, issues between public and private universities. Private universities, they hire the people who are competent, who are very much required, who have reputations in teaching and research. They buy them. Quality will be ensured. What about the public universities? They cannot do that. I heard in America, retired professors who are well known, are professors of reputation, are appointed, or sometimes they are purchased to ensure quality education, quality teaching and research. And there is no retirement for them. They will be there even after superannuation. But in India, in public universities, in government universities and colleges, we are waiting for the retirement. Eminent professors, if they retire, there will be no substitute for his position. And therefore, public universities are ensuring quality through quality teaching, quality research, whereas some of the private public universities are suffering because of this problem. Then there is another important one, that is revitalization of social sciences and humanities. How to revise, how to strengthen, these, what you call social sciences. In the age of STEM subjects, in the age of computer science and application, social sciences like sociology or political science or anthropology or public administration, in some universities they are suffering. There are no students at all. There are no takers at all. How to revitalize? And for this purpose, the NEP of 2020 has given importance to all the subjects. And therefore, it has recommended the upgradation of the subject, reorientation of the syllabi in order to attract the students and also to adopt a multidisciplinary approach. Students are free to study any subject of his choice in any semester in order to encourage the social sciences and the languages, because you cannot forget the languages. Languages are very important. Political science is very important. Public administration is very important. Even the students who take the UPSC examination, I think if they study anthropology, public administration, public policy, these are the most important subjects on which questions will be asked in the UPSC examination or in the state service examinations. And if you want to conduct the research on so many policy programs adopted by the state governments or by the central government, these subjects are very important. The knowledge of these subjects are very important. So from that point of view, friends, there is a big problem regarding the revitalization of social sciences. It is depending upon the teachers. Friends, remember, the popularity of subject is depending upon the capability of the teacher. The teachers, they should have the freedom to frame their own syllabus, to offer them to the students and to teach them. In America, many universities have this approach. The students select the subjects depending upon the reputation of the teachers, depending upon the name and fame of the teachers. Institution sometimes is not important, but the popularity of the teacher is very, very important. And therefore, we as the teachers, whatever subjects we teach, we cannot ignore the values and relevance of the social sciences. History is a very important subject. It is said, history makes the man wise. Whoever has got the knowledge of history, he will not commit the mistakes. And from that point of view, the way in which we treat, the way in which we teach and reorient the syllabi would go a long way to make the subject very important and very relevant. So from that point of view, friends, the issues and problems of the education is so important that we, as the teachers, must also play a very important role. In order to strengthen the quality of education, the government of India adopted the RUSA in 2013. RUSA is called as, the Rashtriya Uchatara Shikshana Abhiyan. To address the critical issues of higher education, this was launched in 2013. It is largely based on the conditional release of the grants linked to reforms in the key areas of institutional governance, learning teaching outcomes, research output, and infrastructure support. Recently, grant under this scheme has been introduced to several universities and colleges, and they are conducting some programs. The programs are linked to reforms in education, reforms in teaching, research, and infrastructure. And therefore, the state governments have to undertake with the central government for this one. And in 2017 and 18, 1,300 crore was provided by the central government. And from that point of view, friends, today, the RUSA program has become very active in order to revitalize the domain of higher education and to reform the higher education. Therefore, friends, in the domain of higher education, these challenges, problems can be solved, provided there is a cooperative approach and also by the state government. So, we have got 10 minutes.